I had a Gardasil injection, a vaccination, in June of 2009, and it was then that I got a really bad infection at the needle site. It went really red and swollen, and I sort of just leant against a wall and cried out in pain, and I didn't know anything was happening there, and I pulled my sleeve up and it was all red and really lumpy and like an egg that grew, and by the hour it seemed to get bigger and bigger and redder. And I got really sick as well, felt like really lethargic, and like everything around me was floating, and I'd be on it, I'd be out and I'd feel like I needed to quickly find somewhere to sit down because I'd feel really breathless and just really unwell, feeling through my body. And that was when that infection cleared up at the site, but I never really got well again. So that's when I pushed the doctors. I sort of felt I needed to push them to find out what was wrong. Something wasn't right. I'm Meagan Langford. I'm 25 years old. What I was doing before I came ill was I was doing an honours degree at Monash University. Well, while I was studying, I did a lot of time in the library getting resources down from the top levels in the library. So I was going upstairs frequently, and it was during that time that I was getting really lethargic and breathless and dizzy and almost passing out. I'd stop halfway up one flight of stairs and sort of try and catch my breath and get the stars to clear. And that was, I just thought I was unfit because I hadn't been exercising for a little while, so I thought, oh, maybe I'm just unfit and a little bit overweight and need to fix myself up. Now I'm 59 kilos, yeah. I could wear sort of like 16s, sometimes 14s and even sometimes 18s, and now I'm 8 to 10 and it's looking like smaller again. So Mum always believed that something was wrong, and she was always next to me fighting as well. Like, we went to one GP and she didn't want to have anything to do with it anymore. You've had the infection, it's cleared up and you're all right now. Right. And so we went to another GP and Mum said, she's not well. She's clearly not well. I know she's not. We need to do something. So they'd run all the tests and they'd all come back fine. But this one GP, Dr. Malini Colombage, she's my GP now and she has been ever since. She believed me. Yes. Yes. So she's very good. So I went to an after hours doctor first that night because I was worried about it. He looked up, because I told him I'd had the Gardasil injection, he looked up in his medical books to see if there was any reactions being reported. And he just said that he concluded that sometimes you can get redness and swelling from the needle site. And I think he gave me a prescription for a antibiotic. He said if there's some kind of infection there, and he didn't really understand much about it, so yeah. So the following day I actually went to my then regular GP and he recognised it as cellulitis, an infection of the skin around there, and he gave me some antibiotics as well. So I got that prescription made up because after the second opinion, and by then I thought, it is obviously an infection. So I started on them and he gave me a repeat. So I had 2 weeks of those. I had to get the repeat prescription and have that as well. And then, that all cleared up, went down, and I ended up still not feeling right, but just getting back to normal life. I don't know how now because I was feverish and everything. Like, I can remember I was hot in the face at the time and just felt terrible, and I went and did a presentation on my thesis. I went to my doctor for just a repeat script. just mentioned my age and that it's free to have this cervical cancer vaccine. She could do it today, seeing I'm here, and I won't have time to get nervous because I don't really like needles very much, but who does? Just that it'd be beneficial if I had it because I was the right age. I said, yeah, okay, let's do it, because my sister had already previously had it and she went fine, so I decided, yeah, just do it. I had the first two went off without a hitch, and then I had the last one, which was 6 months after. Immediately when I sort of couldn't touch it without it really hurting, that it was something beyond just redness, because I'd had previous injections at school and you just get a little bit of redness and itchiness or whatever. I'd been going to the gym. I'd only just started after the infection, sort of the onset of the infection went, and they were worried about me at the gym because I was recording heart rates of 180 plus and almost passing out on them there at the gym, and they wanted me to go to the doctor and just check before I come back and did more exercise there with them. I feel like an old lady, well, I think an old lady would have more energy than me. I just feel like I can't go very far without, needing to have a rest or stop for a minute, and it's just, it's bizarre because it's not actually feeling tired, like as in need to sleep. So it's a feeling I'd never ever had before, and I was trying to, explain to the doctor. I had all the heart tests through the doctor, and nothing was ever really said on the tests, nothing reported. But then one day after really almost passing out, getting to the point at the gym of no going back, and we were fed up, and told her to send me next door to Dorevitch and get ECG done. That recorded a heart rate over 100 then, and that was laying on their bed, just hooked up to the machine. So we went in and saw the GP briefly then, and she gave me a referral and all the information and told me just to go straight to Knox Emergency Department. So we went down there, and they were really focused on the heart business because they strapped me up to the heart monitor straight away, of course, and the readings there, when I was in there for a weekend, they never went below 100. Most of the time they were 140, 150, and that was just sitting in bed or laying in bed. She concluded that there's nothing wrong structurally with the heart, it's all very healthy. We discharged after 4 days, I think, and went back to a follow-up appointment with her in 2 weeks from then. Was still racing along, of course, and before I got there we'd stopped really quickly at a shop and run in to get some stuff, and I nearly passed out in there, and we went to see her and explained, because actually I'd gone back to uni that day before, first day back at uni after 6 weeks holidays, the mid-semester semester break, and during that I'd driven into uni and everything that day, so I'd driven in the car 2 hours total, one way, 1 hour there, 1 hour back, and spent the day there. And then I got home that night, and probably an hour after I got home, I started to get the shakes really bad, like I couldn't control my body, and I got really bad diarrhea and a really bad migraine. So I had to go and just get into bed. And the heart was beating really fast again, everything was going. And I explained to the cardiologist, what happened last night and that I was sick again this morning. And she sort of said that maybe I was a bit, stressed and on edge with going back to uni the first day back. And I told myself, I should have said then, but I said it in my head, well, it wasn't that. I know it wasn't that because I've been at uni for 4 years. And I love uni, it's what I do. She put me on the bed and did the blood pressure and everything, and there was significant drops and rises, and the heart was still fast. So she suggested we start a beta blocker, a half beta blocker, just to slow the heart down a bit. And then she also suggested I should go back to my GP maybe and get some tests done for glandular fever and things like that. And she also mentioned that, you know, could be chronic fatigue. The first mention of chronic fatigue syndrome that ever entered my mind, I never even thought anything to do with that, ever. Through the whole couple of weeks that I'd been sick, it never come into my mind that maybe that's what it is, because I myself would admit I had probably a stigma towards it as well. I didn't know what it was. I thought, you know, people were just tired all the time. They were sick, but that was what was wrong with them. They were tired. And I didn't comprehend that, you know, that might have been what was wrong with me until she verbalised it then. And I sort of went back to my GP and got the test for glandular fever and all that done. I started going on the internet and having a look and Googling chronic fatigue syndrome and going on the better sites, that, you know, the medical sort of sites, trying to see what their symptoms were. And I found that a lot of the symptoms were in common with me, and they can start with the immunisation and the heart business and the diarrhoea and the really bad lethargy and slowness. So we went to a physician, and he actually mentioned post-viral syndrome. So I explained all my symptoms and that I just hadn't gotten better. And he said it could last, you know, sometimes it goes for a month or 6 months, but it should be better after that. And he prescribed me an antidepressant, which he didn't even explain was an antidepressant. He just gave me a script and said, this should make you feel a lot better. Okay. I left all happy. I sort of had a diagnosis, and someone believed I was sick, and he gave me a script, so it was real. I had some medicine I could take and I was going to get better. I thought, yes, here we go. So we went to the chemist on the way home, and she said, do you want me to give you a printout on your medication because you haven't had it before? So she printed out a page of information, and the first thing I scrolled in on was NDEP, antidepressant, tricyclic antidepressant, and my heart just fell. Immediately decided in my brain, well, I'm not taking that, so I don't need an antidepressant. And I also read the side effects, and I'd had epilepsy as a young child and had seizures, and it said that a side effect can be seizures. Drop. He said, it's only a drop, could you take it? And he sort of was belittling me, like saying, you know, you need to just take it, it's just a drop, and, you know, it won't hurt you and could make you a lot better. And yeah, he just kept pleading, you know, you really need to take it. And I just didn't want to get worse, and I knew side effects could make me worse. This was 2009.